Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss about formulation of suspensions. It is a very important question and being asked repeatedly. Write about the formulation of suspensions. Okay, so the various ingredients they are used. I'll mention all the ingredients, and the ingredients which are used in formulating a particular suspension, they vary depending on the nature of the drug, depending on the stability considerations, depending on what kind of you are preparing, whether it's a suspension or dry powder. Dry powder are also suspensions which you have to shake with the distilled water while administering. So depending on the nature of drug, the storage conditions, the stability considerations, whether the kind of dosage form, the ingredients will vary. Okay, for example, suspending agents they are not required in all the formulations. If the drug is able to suspend and it is having good like it will not sediment, then in that case suspending agents will not be required. So the ingredients which are used vary depending on the conditions, right? So what are the basic formulation ingredients? Drug and additives. Drug is your active pharmaceutical ingredient, your API, and additives. So in additives, what all you have? In additives you have here vehicle, wetting agents, suspending agents, preservatives, organoleptic additives, deflocculants, nothing but dispersing agents. Okay, deflocculants and dispersing agents, nothing but deflocculating agents to keep the particles separately without allowing them to aggregate. So without allowing them to form a clump formation. So deflocculating agents or nothing but a dispersing agents. And then here flocculating agents. You might think why flocculating agents are required. So flocculating agents, they will help in the formation of aggregate floc. So controlled flocculation is important in every suspension because they will sediment rapidly, but when you shake on mild agitation, they will disperse. Again, they will redisperse and so uniformly. So that is why flocculating agents are always added to maintain a controlled flocculation. In a suspension. So now we will discuss each of these in detail. First, coming with your drug. Drug is nothing but your main suspension, your main active ingredient which is having the therapeutic value. So the drug should possess few characteristics. What are those? A drug, it should have minimum solubility. Why? Because if it is soluble, it will form a solution, right? It should have a minimum solubility, maximum chemical stability, and good wettability in the vehicle. Wettability is very important because if it is not getting wet, then what happens? We have already seen what are the problems, then why wetting agents are required, how wetting will not happen due to a presence of a contact angle between the solid particle and the liquid medium. The wetting will not happen, right? So whatever drug you are using, it should have minimum solubility, maximum chemical stability, and good wettability in the vehicle. Okay, suppose drugs is having some solubility. So drugs with some solubility in the vehicle, it could result in the growth of crystals formation, sometimes due to variations in the storage temperature. So due to fluctuation in storage temperature, sometimes the crystals may be formed. So drug should not have solubility in the vehicle whatever you are using. Okay, and your drug whatever you are using, it should have pleasant organoleptic properties. Organoleptic properties means organoleptic is nothing but a coloring, flavoring, and sweetening. Organoleptic properties, nothing but a coloring, flavoring, and sweetening agent. So whatever drug you are using, it should have pleasant organoleptic properties. Okay, nothing but it should have a elegant color, taste, and flavor. Okay, next coming to the vehicle. So vehicle is nothing but which is used to liquid. Vehicle is nothing but a liquid medium, right? So depending on whether you are using orally, topically, and whether they are non-aqueous, so the choice of solvent, it may vary. But water is the choice of vehicle for your oral liquids. So whenever you are formulating oral liquids, your water is the choice of vehicle for oral liquids. Then syrup, sorbitol, glycerin, they are used with water. These solvents like syrup, sorbitol, and glycerin, they are usually used along with water. So what is their purpose? They are used as co-solvents. Why? Because they are somewhat sticky, they are viscous in nature, so they will impart body to the preparation. Viscous, if you have seen in laboratories, you might have observed that the syrup and glycerin, they are somewhat viscous in nature compared to a water. So they will impart the body to the preparation, and they will improve the palatability of the preparation. Palatability is nothing but the acceptance. Okay, the palatability of the preparation can be improved. Right, so syrups have palatable taste, sweet taste. So in order to improve the palatability, these co-solvents, they may be used along with water. And the suspensions which are administered by routes other than oral route, they may contain non-aqueous or oily vehicles. Okay, non-aqueous or oily vehicles can also be used. Non-aqueous or oily vehicles can also be used for suspensions. If the suspensions are administered by route other than oral, then in that case you can use non-aqueous and oily vehicles. For example, your calamine lotion. This you have already formulated in your first year pharmaceutics in lab. Calamine lotion. Okay, it is available in two official forms, aqueous form and oily form. It is available in both aqueous and oily form. Here calamine lotion is available in aqueous and oily form. Okay, so this is with your vehicle. The next, coming to your wetting agents. Okay, why wetting agents are required? So this I've already told you. Some insoluble drugs, they do not wet readily with water. So if they are not getting wetted, what will happen? They'll form a lump, and that lump, it will float on the surface of liquid. Right. So this poor wetting, it is due to the presence of entrapped air on the surface of solid. Okay, due to the presence of entrapped air, a solid is not getting wet by the liquid. So in order to ensure satisfactory wetting and to ensure whatever air that is trapped, that has to be removed, right? So to ensure wetting and to the escape of entrapped air from the liquid preparations, you must use an agent which will reduce that solid liquid interfacial tension and which will reduce the contact angle between the solid particles and the liquid vehicle. So here comes the role of wetting agents. Wetting agents are those which decrease the solid liquid interfacial tension and which also decrease the contact angle between your solid particles and the liquid vehicle. Right. So for this, in order to reduce this energy, solid liquid interfacial energy, you are using surfactants. The wetting agents which are used to achieve this air, surfactants, they are having HLB in the range of 7 to 9. HLB is nothing but hydrophilic lipophilic balance. Okay, hydrophilic is water loving, lipophilic is oil loving. So whatever surfactants we are using, they are amphipathic in nature, right? They have both hydrophil nature and lipophilic nature. So whatever surfactants you are using, there should be an optimum balance between their love for both the phases. So the surfactants which are having an HLB value, hydrophilic lipophilic balance of 7 to 9, they are mostly employed and they reduce the solid liquid interfacial energy and the contact angle between the solid particles and the liquid vehicle. Okay. So this wetting agents we have already discussed in the theory of wetting, how wetting happens, right? So the common surfactants used as wetting agents includes here non-ionic type of surfactants and anionic type of surfactants. Non-ionic surfactants like tweens and spans, and anionic surfactants like your SLS, sodium lauryl sulfate, and docusate sodium. Okay, your SLS, sodium lauryl sulfate, and your docusate sodium, DOCUSATE, docusate sodium. Docusate sodium are your anionic type of surfactants. Okay, so for oral administration, you use non-ionic surfactants like tweens and spans. And for products which are used externally, calamine lotion is a suspension, but you will apply it externally. So for products used externally, you will use SLS, sodium lauryl sulfate, and Quillia tincture. Okay, one more mechanism by which wetting agents act is levigation. What is levigation? Is nothing but, can you see solid? In case of solid, this is your air. If the air is getting entrapped on the surface of solid, there is no wetting, right? So the levigating agent helps to remove the entrapped air helps to escape the air from the surface. So you can see glycerin, propylene glycol and sorbitol are used as levigating agents. If you are using levigating agents, it helps in the removal of the entrapped air on the surface of the solid. So this process is known as levigation. So whatever solvents which are acting as levigating agents, they are viscous solvents. This glycerine, propylene glycol and sorbitol, they all are viscous solvents. Okay, how do they act as these viscous solvents? They will flow into the voids or pores of the particles to displace air. This will flow into the voids. Voids is nothing but spaces, right? Voids or pores of the solid particles to displace air. Okay, for example, sulfur lotion will contain Quillia tincture, alcohol and glycerin. One more example I will give you, sulfur lotion. Here sulfur lotion contains Quillia tincture, alcohol and glycerin. It contains it three. So a Quillia tincture is a surfactant. Alcohol and glycerin are your levigating agents. So a sulfur lotion contains Quillia tincture, alcohol and glycerin to increase the wettability of the precipitated sulfur. So while formulating this sulfur lotion, your sulfur gets precipitated. So in order to increase the wettability of that, your sulfur lotion contains Quillia tincture, alcohol and glycerin to increase the wettability. Okay. So this is with your wetting agents. Next we will discuss about deflocculants and dispersing agents. Okay, in the next class we will discuss about the remaining ingredients. So deflocculating agents, I have already told you why deflocculating agents. Deflocculating agents are those which will help the particles to remain as separate entities and thus they will maintain the particles to be suspended in a suspension. Okay, so these agents, they will do not appreciably lower the surface and interfacial tension. That is done by wetting it, but they are here. You just think that here also in deflocculants are nothing but your surfactants. How do they are acting as deflocculating agents? That I will tell you now. Okay, a proper surfactant in appropriate concentration which will improve the dispersion by reducing the interfacial tension. Okay, so how surfactants are acting both? Here they are acting as wetting agents. How they can act as deflocculating agents? That I will tell you now. Okay, a proper surfactant in appropriate concentration, it will improve the dispersion by reducing the interfacial tension. How? Let us see an example. For example, if you are using a surfactant which is having negative charge, okay, so nothing but anionic surfactant, right? So if the surfactant with negative charge, they are adsorbed on particles. You know, there are all particles in a suspension. So when a particle is, the surfactant is adsorbed on the surface of particle, this will prevent the aggregation in the presence of positive ions. Okay, for example, you have all these particles. One is having negative charge and the other is having positive charge, right? So the negative charge particle, it will adsorb surfactant onto that. So now the positive charge particle will repel it, right? So due to this repulsion, the particles are remaining separately. They are not clumping and they are not aggregating. So this is preventing aggregation because of the mutual repulsion of the like charges. Okay, because of the mutual repulsion of the like charges. So for example, your surfactants like your sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium dioctyl sulfosuccinate, tweens, spans and higher molecular weight polyethylene glycons like a carbovaxes and pluronics are frequently used as surfactants which will act as a deflocculating agent. Okay, did you understand this? If surfactants with negative charge, they are adsorbed on the particles, then they will prevent or minimize the aggregation in the presence of positive ions because of the mutual repulsion of the like charges. Okay, suppose there are all minus particles, minus charge. If they are all minus particles, so here you are having surfactant adsorbed on the surface of these particles. Now when the surfactant has adsorbed, it is preventing one particle from coming in contact with other. So the particles are remaining individually suspended. So this is the main purpose. The main purpose of dispersion is achieved. That is nothing but dispersing agents. So the dispersing agents helps in aiding the dispersion of individual particles in the suspension. But one must be careful with the non-ionic surfactants not to use a high concentration of the agent. But you should use an optimal concentration, because if you are using high concentration, you know, there will be one concentration known as CMC, which will be known as critical missile concentration. So above this concentration, missiles will be formed. Okay, critical micellar concentration. So you should always use in a less concentration. If you are using in high concentration, it will help to form a coagulation. Again, it will help in coagulation, but you don't want that. Okay, your main purpose is to disperse them. So that is why deflocculating and dispersing agents. In the next class, we'll discuss about the remaining agents. Please go through it from Lachman, and this is also from one more book, Atmaram Power, so that you do not have. So please prepare the notes from the video and Lachman. If you have any doubts, let me know. Thank you.